Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm Will Dragon, and this is the continuation of our All Quiet in the Trenches playthrough. Now, we left off, we've been in camp for a couple of turns after coming back from a very disgusting defensive battle, where unfortunately we lost Linux, so the idea of a deathless run unfortunately went out the window. I mean, I think that battle was mental. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the last episode. It is absolutely insane. But we did go and get our good friend Lots as a replacement. It looks like he may have in fact just turned up. There he is. I'm Lots, the new guy. Lots and Smitbauer, my two least favorite people. We also have Dana over here who would like to tell us the latrine is filled to the brim. We have Smitbauer, who's just been released from the hospital. And we have rats in the food stock. Wow, from 6 to 3. Just because of rats. Hang on. Wasn't I down to like 2? We have been assigned guard duty. Wasn't I down to like 2 weeks worth of food already? I don't know. I feel like I was. Someone also pointed out from the last video, because I was towards the end, I was really worried because my food kept dropping down by a lot. And they mentioned it's probably because I'm getting more soldiers back in my squad. Now, I believe that only happened in the trench. I could be wrong. Maybe that happened. Got changed in the last update, and I skipped it, and I mentally forgot about it. But I thought that only happened in the trench, but I could be wrong. So that could be where the fast food drops were coming from, basically, from me having a small squad to a bigger squad. We'll find out. Oh, Smitbauer, you're looking healthy. Go to a latrine. Pest control. Oh, hang on. Guard duty, in fact. So, Dana and Fram. Wow. Smitbauer just turns up tired. Whoops, not Dana. Pedersen. Go catch the rats. Don't eat them, Pedersen. Do not eat the rats. So no one's resting. We are on low supplies. We've got 3 weeks left. Let's see what happens. I will try, he replied tentatively. Okay. One evening, Smitbauer was in front of his tent, polishing his boots with dedication. Pedersen came up and quietly watched for a bit before asking, why do you even bother? They'll just get dirty again. Smitbauer frowned. To the clothes and homes, and still you clean those, don't you? Gonna fast forward this one a little bit. The same old story of do we clean and honor the Kaiser, or do we not? We honor the Kaiser. Clean your dirty boots. And oh, Menk is back as well, down to being lightly injured. He is back with the squad. A little bit bruised, but he's back. Anything else? Not really. Fran became more tired. Pedersen is upset because I told him to clean his boots. But no, we did only lose 1 week's worth of food there, and we gained a soldier back. And like I said, I was on 6 weeks food, but then it seemed to go down to 3 weeks when we introduced rats. So it seems to have almost, like I said, because I feel we went down to 2 weeks food. So I feel like it's almost corrected itself by the reload. So I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to go back and double check the videos, but I feel like it was a bug. And we went back up to 6 weeks, but then lost it all again, thanks to rats. But we do seem to potentially be on a recovery. I think we got rid of the rats. We're running out of food, that is true. So yeah, we seem to potentially, when you still feel so good, you no longer feel about certain things that make you feel bad. He's now no longer upset, I would assume. He got over that very quickly. That's all I'm going to say, and I'm very happy about that. These villagers are suspect. You're suspect. How long do we get more food, mate? Because my people could starve. In a couple of days, all right. Pray for food, everybody. Pray for food. You are exhausted. You definitely pressed up. We're just going to go for 2 neutral guys because they're quite well rested, so we're just gonna go for that. So yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter so much, but I feel like it was potentially a bug. I'd have to, like I say, go back and check. I had already seen from a distance that Dana and Pedersen were returning from their patrol through the village. Madame LaRoche had accompanied them all the way and had apparently been chatting with Dana. As the group approached the camp, Madame LaRoche said goodbye and added, come on over for tea and cake if you miss talking to other French people. I've never seen this story before. After having previously been distant but polite during the conversation, Dana suddenly looked angry as he turned to her. I am Alsatian, not French. Not French, not French. Madame Laroche recoiled in shock and hastily tried to appease him. But of course, please forgive me, Jean-Pierre. A more French-sounding name you will never find. To you, it's still Herr Danner, he added, raising his index finger and taking a threatening step forward. And as a German soldier, I am hardly going to fraternize with the enemy. Come off it, Pedersen exclaimed, grabbing Danner by the arm to pull him back. Madame Laroche turned pale, looked briefly at me for help, and then hurriedly turned away. I didn't get involved in Danner's business. I mean, it is kind of fair, you know. He is Alsatian, not French, and that's kind of a whole thing, you know, and he is getting a lot of stick for being French. He was potentially trying to be a bit close and claiming him as French. I am gonna not get involved. I didn't get involved in Danner's business. Madame Laroche had crossed a line and would now have to live with the consequences. And he was sure she had learned her lesson for the future. Danner huffed in exasperation and turned back to the camp to finish the last few meters of his patrol. Pedersen followed silently. We just finished what the men had come to call the cock parade, the inspection of all genitals in front of the whole team with subsequent education. Afterwards, a few of the men joked around where they would put their freshly received condoms to use now and who would be the first to get it. Spitfire listened to them with growing horror. Chastity and virtue must be upheld, especially in times of war, he said. Outside of marriage, without the goal of procreation, you must not even think of such things. We have to contain venereal diseases, I explained. Spitfire looked at me in confusion. We would achieve this goal just as well with chastity, Herr Unteroffizier. I humorously tried to brook through it. I met him dejectedly. We have to face reality, I said to Spitfire and put a hand on his soldier, even if we don't like what we see here. Spitfire looked at me skeptically, but remained silently afterwards. At that moment, Menk arrived, whom I had to excuse from the cock parade because of severe diarrhea. He must have spent half an hour in the latrine, poor guy. Now, of course, he had to endure jokes about it, and the men jeered again. Shy Menk was quick-witted and countered nonchalantly. I only took a shit. As far as I know, one of you is on latrine duty. Happy about the good mood, I left the men alone. Hello, Menk. We have secrets, do we not? When I saw Soldier Alfred Lotz at camp, he was inspecting his assigned rifle with great interest. Keep it up. Professional interest with us. Good to have you with us. Ooh, the chill has set in. It is the 17th of November, 1915, and we have bad weather. Lotz is no longer wounded. Huzzah! Menk went down to strained, and Smithbauer went down to lightly injured. Lotz is looking chipper. Good recovery is, of course, removed with that. Bram is no longer strained, and Pedersen is no longer tired. We lost a week's worth of rationed, and the hospital no longer has any soldiers. They must have all frozen to death. Aha! Resupply came in. Huzzah. And we have a job of... Listen carefully. For reasons of secrecy, you're only finding out about this now, and I want to keep it that way. Our next attack is imminent, so have your soldiers ready to march. Oh, and off we go. There's a trip to the pub planned. We will definitely take advantage of that to very much lighten the mood and get some relaxing on the go. You are open, and you could definitely do with the relaxation. Danner, we will keep away from the French village. There was a bit of trouble going on there. And we will also send Lotz. He is kind of open to things as well. So we'll send those two. We'll keep the rest in camp. Next turn, have fun. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's off to battle we go. Oh, nice. He got fully recovered from that. Danner and Smithbauer got well rested, as did Pedersen and Fram. That's absolutely fantastic. They both feel that they belong. Frank went down to tired. Grateful removed, but so was dejected. We're in a good mood, despite the bad weather. So, you know, it's all looking good. Right, so let's go to our secret attack, shall we? Here's your gear. And hi-ho, it's off to war we go. Click to continue. It looks like the trench is behind us, but okay. Oh, it's a gas attack. Ah, right. Yes. Right. Yes, I remember this one from before. When I say before, I mean a previous playthrough. We're attacking this time with gas. The enemy will be completely unprepared. Keep your men together and make sure they have their masks ready. Once the gas takes effect, there will be no stopping them. Forward. Charge, charge, and charge some more. It is very foggy. So we're just going to start nailing it across the map. Last time when I did this, I ran across the map almost as fast as I possibly could. Had to find some French soldiers because they wanted to know the effects of the gas. Didn't find a single person. See, I mean, like, apparently there's one of my troop, one of my troops all the way up there. That doesn't get me very far, and I can't get past these guys, so we'll go as far as we can. And again, we'll just keep moving up as best we can. Hopefully they move or do something. Look, we've got these guys even further up here. But let's... Is that the same people? I think... Hang on, where are they going? No, I don't know which way's further forward. They're just going to always be in my way, aren't they? I'm going to go to the left. Oh, gas masks are on. Good, good, good. I didn't even notice that. I was too busy charging forwards. I see the French. Let's keep charging forward. Again, these guys are just going to constantly be in the way, aren't they? I thought they were going to go off to the right because they had kind of curled round. That's why I decided to come this way. We definitely... Oh, wow, there's some guys all the way up there. Wounded French soldier in a poison gas cloud. Let's see if we can grab that French soldier. I've got one here as well. Oh, he's down. He's down. They're all... Little resistance as to be expected. Get an overview. Find out what the gas has done to the French. Did you? Gather information about the gas. Lieutenant Donner to keep an eye out for wounded or fallen French soldiers and to inspect them closely. Every observation can tell us whether the enemy is incapacitated or can still put up resistance. We're going to search him. I believe that would be about... gather information about the gas. Right. Is there anybody in particular who... Sure, we'll go... No, wait, we'll go Pedersen. Because I believe, yeah, Mike has a good eye, so you can search him. Let's go next. We've got a whole bunch of dead bodies just behind us, so we'll hopefully be able to just go and inspect these guys as well. We may have some in front of us. I searched a Frenchman. He had ammunition and bandages on him. This guy can't breathe. He's just gasping and grabbing his throat. He won't last much longer. I don't think there's going to be much I can do for him. I feel like he is simply going to... excuse my words, but croak. I don't think he is going to make it much longer. I'm going to come back to here. There's two guys for me to inspect. Let's hit next turn. I can still hear them dropping like flies. Search a dead soldier. Gather information. Ahmed. Why is he so far behind and separated from wherever he came from? Found an intact hand grenade. Very nice. Things happened to him. No bullet wound, no splinter, nothing. He must have suffocated slowly. The gas didn't miss its mark. We can still gather information on another French soldier. You can see for yourself. The gas has weakened the enemy and forced them into a headlong retreat. We must seize this moment forward. Take the next trench. Task completed. I examined him. No bullet wounds, no splinter, nothing. He must have suffocated from the gas. Right. I can only assume charge. Right, so let's... around here. Charge. We had quite a little bit of a break back here, you know, not too much movement, etc. Yeah, let's just let's swing ourselves around to here. And I guess we'll swing ourselves around to here. Do not shoot, please. I give up. I unfortunately don't think we're going to have to shoot you, my friend. I believe the gas has done its work very, very efficiently. Just keep charging forward. I'm about to fall over. I have no strength left. You can do it, my friend. You can do it. It's okay, yeah, alright, fair enough. You take that small break. We're gonna go into a fight with this one soldier. Who should just fall over on his own anyway. We have overpowered the French in close combat. It's not really much of a competition, is it? Out of breath removed, light stress added. Well, I guess we'll go left, although... yeah, you know, just keep going forward. Cool. It's not trying to pigeon me, hold me to one side of the map. I mean, we just keep charging. We've kind of got it's a bit of a race sort of thing going on, I feel. Oh, there you go. We can get into the trench there and then take a break and get our guys to rest up a bit. Hopefully Menk is making his way back, even through the thick fog. The effect of the gas was devastating. The attack was extremely fast and the enemy was completely unprepared. Their generals must be wondering where the front line has gone. With a bit of luck, we'll make it into the newspapers. Yeah, good for you, Von Karlsruhe. Good for you. He is returning to the troop. I don't need to give him covering fire. Everybody just rest up. Oh, do you know what? In fact, no, let's just... nah. Yeah, let's see if we can get some supplies. I know, but there's been a lot of talk and requests of things like actual loot from trenches and stuff, you know? Not that I'd eat any meat I found in this one, but, you know, like wine, I don't know, maybe honey and meat, or, you know, trinkets. Things that you can then actually really give to your troops for rewards. Oh, I shouldn't have bothered moving. It's back to camp. Well, that was a very fast battle. It was just a race, basically. A race as far forward as fast as possible. That was, yeah, a little bit. None of us could sleep that night, and so we came out of our tents one after the other. We sat together silently, looking pale. The attack with the chlorine gas had been a complete success. The enemy positions could be taken without much resistance. It was Lotz who finally broke the silence. I thought... well, they said the gas wasn't lethal, didn't they? Silence again. Only the crackling of the fire could be heard, which at least provided some warmth on this cold night. At some point, he continued. Those who didn't suffocate just ran around frantically, like animals. He shook his head. Do you think it was right, he asked, to fight like that? I don't know. It seems like there is no right or wrong in this war anymore. Pedersen raised his voice. He had inspected the French soldiers, not order from the lieutenant that was necessary for the report. They didn't have masks like we did, he pointed to his... I'm not going to try and say that. In which his gas mask was stowed and which only he still wore around his neck. I've heard a wet cloth helps too. Apparently no one told them that. Apparently he was trying to shift the blame onto the French leadership. We all knew that there was no turning back now. Something had changed and the French response would come. Change to neutral from camaraderie. Oh, Fram got exhausted. That must have been from the walk back. Your men are exhausted. That is true. The latrine is filled to the brim. We are short of firewood. Hell of a ride, isn't it? A few days off for you and your men. You're lucky. You're only following orders. I, on the other hand, will now have to write a report to the army command about the reaction of the French and the gas masks. Yes, poor you having to stand back here and write a report. Oh, poor you. Next time you walk through the chlorine gas and inspect dead Frenchmen. Then Pedersen to go do that. And let's hit next turn. Still, I will take the week off though. Woo! I say it's no longer cold. It's still snowing, but it's not cold on the ground. It's not settling. Oh, no, wait, the snow stopped. There you go. Bad weather has been removed. There you go. So no cold snap. We lost a week's worth of food. Good mood was added, because most probably of the loss of bad weather. Tiredness has gone down slightly. Dana is now nauseated. Oh wow, Pedersen is now jaded. Interesting. Your men are... Probably because of the fact that he just spent all week chopping firewood and then the snow stopped. With your permission, I would like to give them larger portions. With your permission, no. We have a few prisoners of war in our camp. They need guarding. Oh my god. Logistics Officer Hennick, he's escaping. Guard those captives. You. And we'll send Pedersen. How long to your next shipment? For at least a month. Right. I'm gonna grab some food. I'm gonna send someone to go pick up that food. That'll be you, Schmidtbauer. Next turn. Because I am running low. My men were sitting together in a wide circle, excitedly chatting among themselves. This charge mood had been growing more and more intense over the last few days. There was hardly any other topic of conversation than Christmas Eve and what it would bring. Some worried about their families at home. The melancholy was visible in many a gaze. And again, the conversations came back to what it was like to have to spend Christmas at the front. What do you think? Menk asked the group. Will there be another football match? Surely you have heard about last year's Christmas truce. How strange it must have been when everybody suddenly laid down their weapons and played football together. Some murmured in agreement. One soldier interjected that he would be most excited about the exchange of cigars and cigarettes, and another raved about the food that was supposedly traded last year. I sat a little apart and listened to the conversations. Suddenly, and evidently unexpectedly for everyone, Lieutenant von Karsburg stood before the men. They were shocked into silence, and all enthusiasm vanished from their faces. What is all this Nancy drivel? He snapped at the soldiers. You are here at the front, and gentlemen behind these trenches are your enemies. You didn't keep forgetting that we would have been in Paris long ago, and could have brought our families a nice victory for Christmas. Then he turned to me. So far, I was under the impression that you had your men under control. Don't let this kind of behavior catch on. Addressing the men again, he added, and now back to work, and don't think that the Herr Major will tolerate such fraternization like last year again this Christmas. Then he marched off. Abashedly, my men looked at me. It's still a nice thought, though. At least it gives us a little hope, even if it's just a pipe dream, Menk said quietly. The tension eased somewhat among the men. They quickly went back to their tasks, but the next day, you could regularly hear one of them whispering to another, wondering if a Christmas miracle might be possible after all. As I was passing by the temporary enclosure holding the captured French soldiers, I saw Lotz fraternizing with the prisoner of war he was meant to guard. Command. Oh, there's more. The soldiers undressed to remove lice from their clothing, only Menk preferred to contort himself awkwardly instead of taking off his clothes. When a comrade tried to help him, he roughly brushed him off. He didn't need to be shy here, I explained. No matter what your religion or anyone tells you to do, we are all comrades here, and you belong to them. Put your shyness aside. Menk smiled mildly. I just don't want to embarrass my comrades, he said, slapping his narrow chest with a lanky arm. I'm such a beefcake underneath, anyone here would immediately turn pale. With that, he had the laughter of his comrades on his side and triggered a jumble of further quips and jokes. No one paid any attention to the fact that he still didn't take his clothes off. Yes, I don't think there's going to be a Christmas miracle. I mean, it happened in the first year, and then there's been a year of murdering, killing, now chlorine gas, and only who knows what other devastations will be being reaped on each other, causing further animosity, hate, stress, fear, and everything else involved. So unfortunately, I do not quite think a Christmas miracle is on the cards. We'll soon be relieving our comrades in the trenches. Make sure your people are ready. We're tasked with guard duty. 3 turns. Things constantly appear or disappear without any proper documentation. It's time to take stock so I finally know what I actually have. Sure. I will give you a hand. I don't actually really know what it does in the grand scheme of things, but I'll give him a hand nonetheless. Guard duty, sure. Send Pedersen and Dana. Taking stock. We'll send Smith-Bauer and Fram. Fram should be good at taking inventory, or maybe terrible at taking inventory. He maybe never actually had to do it himself. And let's hit that next turn button. Ooh, I believe Christmas is about to happen. One evening, Fram came to my tent. He'd been delegated to help the field intendant, but now he came to me for advice, clearly unsure what to do. Herr Unteroffizier, pardon the interruption, but there's a bunch of canned goods that don't appear to be on any of the inventory lists. He cast a quick glance over his shoulder and lowered his voice a little. I could just take them. Nobody would notice. Take the food. As long as nobody notices, it won't be missed and we can always use additional supplies. Fram accepted my order, even if he still seemed a bit wary. The next day, however, I received confirmation that he had heeded my words when he returned to our camp with a whole crate of canned goods. A wistful mood had spread among the men. It was a day like any other here in the camp, and yet so different. We knew that, rationally speaking, nothing set it apart from any other day. What did words like Christmas, contemplation, and world peace mean out here? Out here where you lived from meal to meal, and where a day without losses could be better than any holiday. And yet, each in our own way, we seemed to have hoped against hope that something would happen. That something would be different compared to the other days. Maybe something like a miracle. It made this day, in all its ordinariness, all the more difficult to bear. For weeks the men had been waiting for letters from home, which seemed to be delayed more and more. Heavy clouds hung in the sky and a nasty drizzle had set in a few hours ago. Not even snow, as if that would have made a difference. But even this long day came to an end, and at some point, our work was done and Lieutenant von Karlsbruck had already retired to his quarters. My men and I sat together for a while and warmed our wet bones by a small fire. A few hours ago, Zelinsky had beckoned me over and secretly handed me a small bundle, saying, I know they're stricter this year and don't want to hear about Christmas, but I thought, well, maybe you can bring the men a little joy with this. I opened the bundle and held it out to my men, with best regards from the kitchen. They looked into it with wide eyes. Inside were almost a dozen smoked sausages. They still smelled wonderfully of wood and bacon and home. How Zelinsky had come by these delicacies was beyond my imagination. Man, Zelinsky, what a hell of a guy, Lotz exclaimed, and he helped himself with gusto. The others didn't need to be asked twice, and as we sat there munching and sharing stories of home, it felt a bit like Christmas. Until we get to Christmas. Somewhere from the back rows of the troop next to us, a loud cry of pain echoed towards us. Then Pedersen came strolling along, looking as innocent as a lamb, with Lotz next to him, who seemed very agitated and was gesticulating wildly at Pedersen. Are you okay? Everything's fine, Pedersen replied curtly and trudged past me. Someone over there hurt himself while working, Lotz explained. He had a splintered piece of wood stuck in his arm, and Pedersen just pulled it out without warning or caution. Man should go to Elizabeth, I blurted out, but Lotz calmed me down. Of course, his comrades have already taken him there. Hopefully he won't get gangrene, I nodded. Pedersen's roughness made him a tough guy, but that could also cause problems. Lotz may have been right about that. On the other hand, Pedersen's lack of squeamishness in his decisive action may one day save the life of one of his comrades. It was probably a double-edged sword. And so, with that, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of turns away from going to the trenches and having just gotten past Christmas, we are going to end the episode there. It was very much a mixed emotion episode. We had the true devastation of a gas attack. Some of the horrors of the war truly, well, I mean, they were horrors. Not, can't really say it better than actually saying what they were. They were truly devastating, and I truly cannot imagine what they would have been like to actually have experienced and have lived through. On the other hand, you had the story of the beautiful joys of Christmas and of hope. Hope of going home to families, hope of seeing their loved ones again, hope of getting through all of this. Unfortunately, we have already failed that task for Linux, who we will always remember. And always, although he is only, of course, a computer simulation of a soldier, he is only a made-up entity. He does, of course, represent all of those who never made it back from the devastation. And so, on that, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, we come to the end of the episode of Mixed Emotions. And so that just leaves me to bid you all, until I see you again, my best wishes, and to hope that you can stay safe, happy, and healthy.